Hello students. Today we are focusing on the drawer, and in so doing the finger joints of the drawer using our new jig, the Leigh RTJ 400. Brand new. I had some troubles my first time using it. Cut out my parts, went to cut out the finger joints, and it just chewed the finger joints up. Tried it again, same result. Found out a couple things. This melamine and plywood, the company says, are the worst things to try to finger joint because of the grains running different directions. It wants to just chew it up. So my solution was to put a sacrificial board on both sides. When you watch their videos, they have one in the back, right, supporting the teeth in the back, but they and I checked with the company, and this seems to be a good solution, having one in the front as well. So I'm supporting the melamine on both sides, and you can see my joint here. Fingers turned out pretty good if I can get it apart. So that's going to work for us. Okay, if I can get them all that fitting that well, I will be happy. Okay, so you can see on our prototype here, everything worked out well, but I used a different jig for that. I think it was the Craig system. I'll have to look. No, maybe it was Rockler. I got it from Rockler. It was a little bit of a pain to keep dialed in, and I'm hoping this one will be a little easier for students to use. So the first part, I've got to cut my pieces. I've got the front and backs are 19.5, the sides are 16.5 by 3 inches wide. So we're ready to do that. Then we'll cut them to length and width and load them in our jig and see how we do. Okay, let me turn on the put on the GoPro here, and let's get to it. See if this process does indeed work. I've got my 1/2-inch melamine material here. Okay, I like this stuff because it's 11 ply. Okay, makes for a straight, strong drawer. I've got my machine here set up at 3 inches. I've jointed an edge and marked it. That's the edge that I want against our jig when we're cutting our finger joints. Here we go. I'm gonna run a couple of these. Better get my push sticks in reach. I'm gonna go ahead and put on my hearing protection. We've got our vent system on. Let's do it. I'll need 2 of these. Go. Keeping it tight to the fence. Making it as a set. All 4 pieces as a set. All right. So, taking them over here. Gonna square an end and cut our long piece first. I'll have to get a long piece and a short piece out of these. It just worked out that way. Jointed edge against the fence. So yeah, I'm gonna mark that as the fence edge anyway. Here we go. Gonna just take off a sliver to make sure we're square. Then I need 19 inches. I'm going to use a stop block so they're the same. So I'm going to flip this and go 19.5 inches. Okay, let's do the same thing for the other piece. Square an end. And then step 4 is to cut it to length. I've got my mark here, right? Gonna line it up. And to get them to be the same, let's use our stop block system. Probably isn't the best in the world, but I think we can get 2 parts cut to length this way. Let's see what we got. Looks pretty good. Jointed edges against the fence. Let's check it out. 19.5, that's awful close. Get our other long piece. Now we know those are our front and back. Now let's do our sides. For the sides, let's see our jointed edge. Yep. Edge is still against the fence. We've cut both ends, so I think we're okay as far as square. We need to go 16.5. Let's do it from the correct end. I just had a pencil. 16.5 right there. All right, here's our problem. Yeah, I guess that's gonna allow us to use a stop block, isn't it? Measure twice. Oops, that's 18.5. Measure twice, cut once, right? Yeah, I thought that was a little long. Here's our problem. Look at this. We have nowhere to clamp, right? So I'm just gonna go off of a mark on the end of the table. You see it there? I've been here before. So that'll get me real close on both pieces. Right. Okay, so we've got our sides, our front and our back. There's our drawer. Next step is to load them up in our jig over here. Okay, little background on the jig. They do have videos online, and for box joints we want to be in hole number 1, and I'm there and I'm locked in, and I'll show you hole number 2 for the sides. Okay, so we put our front in, and I'm wanting to mark it to make sure I have the same edge in on both ends as we run it. Okay, so that will work. It also goes up against the black stop here. Okay, and then I want my front sacrificial board in there. Let's get it loaded. All right, and I'm up tight against the stop. They're both flush. Let's lock it down. Okay, so looks like they're in position. I think we're good. Now I need the sacrificial board behind, so I've got my jig here. Okay, here's I'm doing the front and back. Then when I do the other parts, I've got to flip it around to do the sides. Okay, so it's up against the stop as well, and then up against my part, and I lock it in. We are ready to cut. Okay, I'm going to take my other 3 parts over, my sacrificial board. I don't think I need anything else. Let's try it. Let's see how we do. In setting this up, I have had, and you'll see in the video, if your fingers are too tight, they won't come together. To loosen it, we would go counterclockwise. If your fingers are too loose, to tighten it, you have to bring your numbers clockwise. So I've found the perfect spot, I believe. Got it locked in. This tool will move that bushing for you. Okay, some other things, we got to keep our jig flat on the table and straight. We don't want to go in at angles. Straight as we can as we feed it through. I've already set the height to the thickness of our material. Let's do it. Trying not to rush because I'll make a mistake if I do. Didn't tear out. Let's see. Now, I did make a mistake. I should have had that end over, but I'm going to keep the same end against my jig. I had marked both of them, didn't I? Fingers